It is a beautiful day in Southern California. We're gonna go riding. I'm gonna show you how I made my bicycle super comfortable. This is important because this has taken me a long time to fix, and I'm gonna help you try to figure out how to make your bicycle more comfortable for you so you can ride as long as you want. Yesterday, I rode 82 miles, 5 hours. Feel good today, other than my legs are tired, but you should not have joint pain. I'm also a chiropractor, so I understand joint mechanics. I understand kind of what I'm doing. Most of what I have done to make my own bicycle comfortable, I actually learned from a guy named Steve Hogg. He's in Australia. And I have to say, I've had probably 5 or 6 bike fits in my life. I'll put a link down below. This website did more for my comfort than anything. So I'm gonna summarize what I've done. So let's start at the feet at the bottom and work our way up, because that's the foundation. Let me get a shoe. First of all, the most important is to find a shoe that fits. Now, I have tried different shoes. I used to use Specialized shoes, but they kind of ran too narrow. I've developed some Mortons and Aromas. So if you have wide feet, every brand has wide shoes. Even Specialized has wide shoes. But if they don't fit like a glove, they're not gonna fit after 5 hours of riding. So this is the brand that I'm using right now, Lake. I also like Shimano. I just wanted to try these because I thought these were kind of cool. Getting a shoe that fits just perfectly is important. You will need some type of orthotic inside the shoe. Most people do. I'm currently now I have the Specialized green insole in there. But the most important thing for foot comfort is this. I have this piece that allows my cleat to go farther back. It's called fore or aft. And I put my feet almost mid-foot. And the reason for this is, number one, like I said, I have Mortons and Aromas. They kind of bother me, but when I ride my bike, I really don't have problems because I put the cleat farther back towards the heel. And the reason that's important is because it takes pressure off the front of my foot. If you were to imagine doing leg presses in the gym, try to go into the gym and do a leg press and keep your feet flat on the platform and do a leg press, and then get on your toes. Just push with your toes on the leg press. See how much more powerful you are. And you're not. So the more flat foot that you can pedal, the better off that will be. Now, the second thing that I did to make my bicycle a lot more comfortable was the choice of saddle. Now let me show you what I have. So this right here is the Sella SMP Dynamic. And I'll tell you how I chose this. I chose this because what I found over the years was a straight saddle just didn't do it for me. It just wasn't comfortable. I like a saddle that has a little bit of a curve into it so I could sit in that curve. A flat saddle always felt like my boys were being crushed, couldn't get into the drops. The reason why is because I'm not a super flexible person by nature. No matter how much I stretch, I can become more flexible, but I'm just not one of those flexible people. A curved saddle tends to help people that are not flexible or older, whereas a flat saddle seems to help people that are flexible and younger. On this bike, I have a Sella SMP with a cutout. On my cyclocross bike, I have a Physique Aliante. And what's interesting is both saddles work for me because of the shape. They're both curved like this. They're not straight. Very often, it's not just one saddle that'll work for you. It could be multiple saddles if you get the shape correctly. The third thing that I did was I corrected my own bike fit. Because I am riding flat-footed, the saddle actually comes down a little bit, and the fore or aft positioning is such that when you are riding your bike, you want to have your hands on the handlebars with very little pressure. Now, this was the most important for me. As a chiropractor, I don't want to destroy my hands. I don't want to develop carpal tunnel syndrome. So I pulled my saddle back such that I'm basically perched on my saddle with very little pressure on my hands. Super comfortable. The last thing is the choice of gloves, and I'm going to show you. I personally like the Specialized brand of gloves, and the reason why, because right in your palm, right there, is called the median nerve. And if you put pressure on that, you're going to get carpal tunnel syndrome. Also, right here on the pinky side of your palm, if there's pressure on that nerve, you'll get ulnar nerve compression, and that's not good. Specialized has these gloves, and if you look, there's a pad on the pinky and a pad on the thumbs. There's no compression of the median nerve and padding along the ulnar nerve. Genius. My wife got me for Christmas, and these are not bad, but you can see where the gel is on each side, and where there's no gel is where the median nerve goes. Now let me show you a brand that I do not like. And the reason I bought them was because I'm a fanboy when it comes to Jens Voigt, and I got these gloves that say "Shut Up Legs." They were online, they were inexpensive. How can you go wrong? Except one problem. There is absolutely no padding in the palm. That makes no sense. Why would you want to have gloves that will protect you from abrasions but not protect the nerves? Doesn't make any sense. I only use those gloves when I'm doing short rides just because, you know, I bought them, they were cheap, I like them. It says "Shut Up Legs."
So let's talk about the holy grail of bike fit, and that is saddle height. Now what I found is that most bike fitters put me a little bit too high. Again, that one bike fit that just did not work at all. Literally, I am, I think, 14 millimeters lower than what he put me at, which is ridiculous. And the perfect saddle height for me is, again, that Steve Hogg testing that you do. Now, he says that if you're a bike fitter, you should be seeing when the customer starts to flick the bottom of their foot at the bottom of the pedal stroke, or their knee slightly hyperextends at the bottom of the pedal stroke. That means that the saddle is too high. But since we're gonna try to do it ourselves and fix ourselves, the way to do it is to put the saddle definitely too low and go up a hill, like a 2-minute hill, and start to incrementally, with every hill repeat, to raise your saddle 3 millimeters until you start to find where it feels comfortable. And then as it starts to get higher, you'll start to notice that you start feeling like you're reaching down at the bottom of the pedal stroke. And when you do that, you've essentially gone 6 millimeters too high. And so that's where it puts me. So when you're pedaling, for example, your knees should not flick at the bottom of the pedal stroke, because that's going to strain your hamstring tendons. Now, if you have naturally strong hamstring tendons and hamstrings, then what'll happen is your butt will rock side to side, and you may actually get low back pain due to too high of a saddle. Now, the other component to this is as you start raising your saddle, the saddle will actually go aft or backwards. So for every 5 millimeters that you raise your saddle, if the saddle fore-aft is correct, you're going to want to compensate by moving your saddle more forward. Likewise, if you're lowering your saddle, you might want to move your saddle back a little bit. Now, speaking of the fore-aft position of your saddle, let me show you what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm in a position, and what Steve Hogg says to do is to get in the drops. So while you're in the drops, pushing forcefully and pedaling at 80% of what you can, what you do is you let go of the drops, and you should be able to somewhat balance yourself. If you're totally balanced, then you have exceptional core stability, or the saddle is way too far back. But if you're falling forward, so in other words, if you let go of the handlebars, like right now, and you fall forward, you can't even control yourself, then the saddle is too far forward, and you're going to want to move it back. If you do move it back significantly, you're going to find, because of the angle of the seat tube, that you're going to need to lower the saddle a little bit. Again, it's this play between saddle height and fore-aft. Play with it until you find both criteria to be useful, that you feel powerful, like you could pedal through the bottom of the pedal stroke and your knee or foot are not flicking at the bottom, as well as that balance test. Once you have that, you probably are going to feel more comfortable. Now, I realize that my experience with bike fits is probably not going to be the same as yours. I would imagine many people have gotten someone to look at them, do a bike fit, and it was life-changing. And if that's the case, then give those people a shout out if they did a great job, and put them in the comment section down below where you got your bike fit.
Hopefully this will give you some insight as to how to make your bicycle more comfortable. If you're more comfortable, you're simply gonna ride more. Today's video sponsor is Mother Good Earth, and they are a great company because they are, first of all, sponsoring this video, and second of all, they have the greatest minerals ever, and they have a philosophy of minerals come from the earth, so where do you get it? From the earth. And so watch what I'm gonna do here. We're just gonna go down. It rained the other day. You just take a nice cup here and just scoop up some mud. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix this Mother Earth with water and drink it to get all the minerals that come from the earth. So you can see I just mixed it with water and all the chunky goodness is in there. Beautiful for minerals. Oh my God. Oh, screw this. I don't need the money. No more sponsorship. Okay guys, good news. I have a new sponsor, Bioptimizers, and they have Magnesium Breakthrough. This actually I do use. I take 2 tablets at nighttime. It helps me sleep. It's got 7 different minerals. Now, of course, Mother Earth supplies minerals in the dirt, but it needs to come into the vegetables. And if the soil isn't good, if you're not eating organic vegetables, you're not getting as many minerals as you really should be. So that's why I take 2 tablets. It's got 500 milligrams of magnesium in it, and it's got 7 different types of magnesium. The reason I take this is for a number of reasons. It regulates my blood pressure, it keeps my heart healthy, which is an endurance athlete I really want, and it helps me sleep. It's easy on the stomach, easy to digest, no digestive trouble, and this is actually a sponsor that I could stand by. Oh man, who's gonna clean up these chunks?